Some letters are written to heal. Some are written to say goodbye. But what happens when a letter arrives too late? Mara stood among the mourners, clutching an unopened envelope. The ink on it read, "To Lila," but Lila was gone. Mara's fingers trembled as she traced her sister's name, her heart heavy with questions. Why now? Why after the funeral? This is the story of Lila and Ezra, two people who loved fiercely but couldn't outrun time. 7 years earlier. In 2018, Lila Bennett, 26, was sketching in a Seattle coffee shop, her journal filled with half-finished drawings of lighthouses. She was an artist, quiet but sharp, her hazel eyes hiding a heart that didn't trust easily. Ezra Cole, 28, a freelance journalist with a restless spirit, walked in, knocking over a sugar canister as he ordered his coffee. Lila laughed, a sound that caught him off guard.
"Hope you're better with words than you are with sugar,"
she teased.
"Words I can handle. Sugar is my nemesis,"
Ezra shot back, grinning. They talked until the shop closed, trading stories like old friends. Ezra told her about getting lost in a Moroccan market. Lila admitted she'd never seen a lighthouse in person, despite drawing them obsessively. He wrote his number on a napkin, sliding it across the table.
"Don't lose this, okay?"
he said.
"I'm not great at staying put, but I'd like to see you again."
Lila tucked it into her journal, her smile shy but real. Over the next few weeks, they became inseparable. They wandered through Seattle's markets, tossing coins into fountains and sharing inside jokes. Ezra read her poetry, stumbling over the words just to make her laugh. They called their happiest moments rainy days and their unspoken dreams lighthouse dreams. But Ezra's phone kept buzzing with job offers, assignments in London, Cape Town, Tokyo. Lila noticed his hesitation whenever she talked about opening a gallery in Seattle. One night, over dinner at an Italian restaurant, Ezra got a call.
"They want me in Berlin,"
he said after hanging up.
3 months. It's a big story."
Lila forced a smile.
"That's amazing, Ezra. You have to go."
He reached for her hand, but she pulled back, just slightly. Love was pulling them together, but life was already tugging them apart. Love doesn't always ask permission before it starts, but sometimes it doesn't ask before it pulls you apart either. Ezra moved to Berlin, and the distance hit hard. Time zones turned their calls into missed connections. Lila taught art classes to kids in Seattle, checking her phone for texts that came hours late. Ezra typed stories in a cramped hostel, his nights filled with new friends, journalists and photographers who kept him out late. Their conversations grew shorter, strained.
"I miss you, Lila,"
Ezra said during a glitchy video call.
"I'm trying to make this work."
"I know,
Lila replied, her voice cracking.
but it feels like I'm holding on to someone who's already gone."
In Seattle, Lila's sister Mara pushed her to move on. "He's chasing stories, Lila. You deserve someone here." Lila shook her head, but doubt crept in. She wrote letters to Ezra in her journal, never sending them. One night, alone, she whispered one aloud.
"Dear Ezra, I keep dreaming of lighthouses, but they're always dark. Are we still looking for the same light?"
She tore the page out, crumpling it. In Berlin, Ezra stared at a photo of them on his phone, typing, "I love you," but deleting it. He sent her a postcard from Prague, a lighthouse sketch, their old joke, but it arrived damaged, the ink blurred. Lila kept it anyway. Life piled on obstacles. Lila's father fell ill, tying her to Seattle with hospital visits. Ezra's Berlin assignment stretched to 6 months, then a year. One night, drunk on a Berlin rooftop, he called her.
"Lila, let's fix this,"
he said.
"Come here, or I'll come back. Just say something."
Lila was in her father's hospital room, the beeping of machines drowning her thoughts.
"I can't, Ezra.
She whispered.
Not now."
The call ended. Silence swallowed them, but there was a flicker of hope. Ezra booked a flight to Seattle, determined to see her. Lila, unaware, started painting again, a lighthouse taking shape on her canvas. They didn't know it was already too late. Love promises to wait, but life doesn't always keep the same promises. Ezra's flight never happened. A new assignment in Syria pulled him away. He told himself it was temporary, but months turned to years. Lila stopped texting after their last call, where she'd said,
I can't keep waiting for a maybe.
By 2022, Ezra was 32 back in Berlin, worn down by the stories he'd covered. He sat in a quiet cafe, staring at Lila's old napkin number, now frayed. He pulled out a notebook and started writing a letter, his hand shaking.
Dear Lila,
He wrote,
I have carried you with me through every city, every story. I thought letting you go would set us both free, but it only broke me. I love you. I always will. But I know I've lost you. This is my goodbye because you deserve to move on.
He wrote through the night, tears smudging the ink. Every word was a confession, raw and unfiltered. He sealed the envelope, addressed it to her Seattle apartment, unsure if she was still there. At the mailbox, he hesitated, his breath shallow, then dropped it in. Some goodbyes are written to heal, some are written to let go, but none are written knowing they'll never be read. Lila, now 29, was in Seattle, sitting in a doctor's office, clutching a piece of paper. Her face was pale, her eyes tired. The diagnosis wasn't spoken aloud, but it was clear it was bad. Lila had leukemia, and it moved fast. She told almost no one, hating the idea of pity. She painted obsessively, lighthouses filling her apartment. Mara begged her to rest, but Lila refused.
I need to finish something.
Lila said.
Before...
She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The letter traveled, sorted in Berlin, flown across the Atlantic, delivered to Lila's apartment. But Lila was in the hospital, her condition worsening. One night, she tried to call Ezra, her fingers shaking over his old number. She left a voicemail.
Ezra, I just wanted to hear your voice. I'm sorry for everything.
Ezra didn't answer. He was in a remote Syrian village, his phone off. Lila died 3 weeks later, quietly, with Mara holding her hand. The funeral came quickly. Mourners gathered, their words of grief blending into a haze. Mara stood by her sister's grave, numb. The letter arrived at Lila's apartment the day after she passed, left in a pile of mail by her landlord. Time doesn't care about love. It doesn't wait for letters, or for goodbyes. Mara went to Lila's apartment to sort through her things. She found the pile of mail, the letter on top, Ezra's handwriting clear. To Lila, her breath caught. Mara sat on Lila's couch, surrounded by half-finished lighthouse paintings. She opened the letter, her hands shaking, and read aloud, her voice breaking.
Dear Lila, I've spent years running from the truth. You were my home. I thought distance would dull it, but it only made you sharper in my heart. I'm letting you go, not because I want to, but because I owe you peace. I hope you're happy, painting lighthouses, living the life you dreamed. I'll always love you. Goodbye.
Mara sobbed, clutching the letter. She never knew, Ezra, she whispered. She never knew. Days later, Mara knelt by Lila's grave, placing the letter against the headstone, a small stone holding it in place. She stood, her eyes wet, and walked away. Love doesn't end with death. It lingers in the words we never said, the letters that arrived too late. Lila and Ezra's story wasn't finished, it was just silenced. Sometimes love arrives even after goodbye,